The House is in committee. Kia ora tātou no reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou ko tā. Honourable members, the House is in committee on the Legal Services Bill, the Financial Markets Regulators and KiwiSaver Bill, and the Securities, Trustees and Statutory Supervisors Bill. Before the dinner break, the committee was debating Part 1 of the Security, Trustees and Statutory Supervisors Bill, and the Honourable Member Claire Curran had the call and has 3 minutes and 53 seconds remaining if she so wishes. I invite the member to seek the call.
Thank you, Mr Chair.
Is the member calling?
Yes, please, Mr Chair.
I call the Honourable Member Claire Curran.
Thank you, Mr Chair.
He's back.
He's back. And I'd like to also, I think I passed on my congratulations to the new Deputy Speaker earlier, but I'd like to also welcome back the Minister, and it's great to have you in the House while we're talking about this bill. And I'd just like to quickly recap on what I was saying around the fact that while Labor supports this bill, we have expressed our reservations about the need for it to be passed right away and the importance, as we see it, for it to be parked while other measures are put in place around the Financial Markets Authority and other measures that we know are coming. And we think that it's precipitous to be passing it as it stands at this point. And one of the things that my colleague, the Honourable David Parker, talked about earlier tonight, on which I particularly agree with him, is the possibility and the spectre that this legislation raises of the stifling, I suppose, of potential ability for companies, particularly companies with export capacity in our new technology areas and innovation sector, to be able to be raising capital in this environment, and that does need to be looked at. When at the dinner break, I was talking about one of the significant issues that appeared in this bill, which was around whether retirement village statutory supervisors should be included within the ambit of the bill. And I'd just like to sort of put on the record here, again, which the Minister might like to comment on, that this is another one of the reasons why this bill should perhaps be parked at the Select Committee stage for a later date. I've said, and as my colleagues have said, we support the bill, but the complexity around this issue is just another one of the issues that I think needs more consideration. We considered carefully whether it was appropriate to bring retirement village statutory supervisors within the bill's ambit, and as we are aware of a view that the Retirement Villages Act 2003 already provides protection for retirement village residents, this part of the bill received quite a lot of attention and quite a lot of consideration by the Select Committee, and there were a number of submissions on it, and on balance we supported the inclusion of retirement village statutory supervisors in the licensing regime, because excluding them meant that residents of retirement villages would receive less protection in certain aspects than people with a financial interest in a security, and we considered that that would be anomalous and undesirable. And the Retirement Villages Act is inadequate on its own, as it lacks the sanctions against poorly performing statutory supervisors. And the monitoring and sanction regime proposed by the bill would address the type of deficiencies identified in the 2009 report by the Retirement Commissioner, and a number of submitters raised concerns around the additional compliance costs which would be associated with this bill. But it's outside of the scope of this bill to address that issue, which is one of the reasons why we think that the complexities of it think that it should actually be parked on the table in the Select Committee.
Mr Chairman.